Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to learn about frames and groups. We'll get a basic knowledge about them, how to use frames and groups in Figma for your design. So let's say I have drawn here 4 shapes. One is star, one is rectangle, another is ellipse, and this is a triangle which is a polygon. Now what I am going to do is I'll select all of them. I'll change their color, let's say something red. I'll apply a stroke to them, some around 5. So they are quite visible, and we should understand the difference between group and frame. So how do you group any of the shapes? So I'll just select them, I'll just right click on them, and from the drop down menu I'll select group selection. So okay, so this group has been made. So now whenever you will move them, they'll move together. So it's quite easy to move them. So now let's say naming of the group. So on the left side you can see the default name that is given to the group is group 1. If you want to rename it, you'll just double click onto it and you will name it as rename, or let's say you will name it, what should we name? We will name it shapes. So from this section you can change the name of the group. If you want, even you can turn off the group, turn it on, and even you can lock the layer. So by locking this group, you can't move it or select it, or you can't edit any of the stuff related to shapes now. So I will just open the layer. Okay, so if I want to resize them, I'll just select them, I'll press the K key, and now I can easily scale. So everything will get scaled together as it is a group. So it's quite easy. This is groups. So now what is frame? Let's say what I will do is I'll select all the shapes inside here. I'll copy them and I'll paste them here. Okay. So here you can see they are as individual groups. Now I will frame everyone. I'll select all the elements. Again I'll right click and then I'll get a drop down menu. Now I will select frame selections. So now after frame selection you can see a default name has been given to it. I'll name it as shapes frame, and we'll name this as shapes group for better understanding. Okay, so this is a frame now. So if I want to change the size of the frame, it will work same as the group. I can just drag and it will get changed easily, right? If I want to move, even it will get moved together. Now you will be thinking, if all the functions whatever were applicable for groups are applicable for frame, then what's the difference between a group and frame? So yeah, we'll look after it. So basically this is our group and this is a frame. So I'll just write a text above it. The above one is group. I'll increase the text size. This one is a group and this one is a frame. So now the main difference between a frame and group is, if I want to reduce the frame that I want to show, let's say I want to only show a star and a rectangle, but I also want the ellipse and triangle to be present. What I can do is I can simply drag this and you can see the frame size has been reduced. Now if I have reduced the frame size, it's still visible, but what I can do is I'll select the frame now. Here there is an option called as clip content. So if I'll click it, only this part will be visible. If I'll click, the whole frame will be visible. So basically in a frame, if you want only a specific element to be visible, you can easily make them visible by just using the clip content option. Whenever you will select a frame, on the right side a clip content option will appear. So how does this help you? So I'll just give you an example. On the right side, let's say you are making an app where you need feed to be a horizontal scroll. So what I will do is simply, this is already, you can see this is a frame. I'll just select this, I'll reduce the size, and now I'll just click on clip content. Now you can see the only part that was in mobile screen is visible, and you can apply a horizontal scroll option by using prototype, which we'll study afterwards. So don't worry about it. So the main feature that I wanted to tell you was frames can be used to show a particular content whichever you want, and you can then apply a scroll, a horizontal or a vertical scroll to it. So now let's say now I'll go here. There are a lot of features that you can apply in frame but not in groups. So for instance, I will remove this group from here. Now I'll just remove the frame's text also, and I have my frame. I'll make the frame again to the duplicate side, and I'll just move it on the right side. Let's say I'll just reduce the size a bit. Okay, I kept it on here. So what I'm going to do is I will add a text here. Let's say alpha events. Okay, this is a frame already, and what I am going to do is I am going to make a frame including this also. So I will just select it. Again I will right click, I will get a option, drop down option, then I click on frame selection. So now this is a frame. I will rename it. I will name it as top bar, let's say. Now what all things I can do is I will select alpha events, and now on the right side constraints are visible. So basically constraints can be applied in frame. So let's say this is left and top, it's fine right now, and I want this to be on the right side only. So what I will do is I'll select the frame, I'll change the constraint to right, and top, I want it to be on the top only. So now whenever I'll resize this, the shapes are going to be on the right side and the alpha events are always going to be on the left side. So let's say I selected the top bar frame. Now if I am increasing, you can see this is on the right side, and this is the shapes are on the right side and the alpha events is on the left side only. Even I am reducing the shape, you can see that. Let's say if I'll do like this, the alpha events are still on the left side. Now if I am increasing the size in vertical direction, it's not moving. So let's say I'll change this, I'll keep this as bottom. So what will happen is whenever I will move, it will keep its position as bottom and it will resize it. But let's say if I want to apply the same properties to the group, what will happen? So let's say I got this group, I will just get this text, I will rename this as alpha events. Okay, and I will place it here. Now I'll just change the size of this and I'll keep it here, and now I will group this. So for grouping, what I will do, I have selected both of them, I'll again right click, I'll get a drop down option. Now I'll select group selection. Now if I'll resize this, you can see the shapes are getting shrinked, but that didn't happen in frame. So this is a plus point of frames, like you can apply constraint to it. So this is the main difference between a frame and a group. Let's say if I want this group, not a group, to be anymore. So what I will do is I'll just again right click and I'll get an option. I can simply select on. So this was the basic difference between frames and groups. I hope so you understand it. Thank you.